Francis Mayokunle EFUNBOTE is the first in a family of 4. In his 26 years stay on this planet, he has only seen for 3 years. He recalls what he was told by his parents.
I slept, it was just in an afternoon. I slept and I woke up and just found myself this way.
He says his parents sought help amongst medical practitioners.
I actually went for 3 surgeries then. I can remember vividly. One of my doctors, his name then is Dr. Aromolate. Then I had 3 surgeries, which one of it was actually successful on the left eye. So when we decided to go for the other one, unfortunately we lost it all.
Curiosity will make one ask what the doctors call this problem.
To me, going to doctors, I don't know. I just say it's not just a natural thing. It's not just a natural thing, but it has happened. It has happened. Who else? Who am I to ask? If there's nobody to query that why is this thing? Why is this thing this way?
So, at age 3, Francis could not see again. The family accepted their fate, but did not know what to do next. When he turned 5, a family friend talked to his parents about a school for the visually impaired.
Thank God for someone like the late Mrs. Inka Aje, the late Mrs. Femi Inka Aje, who actually introduced my parents to Pacheli School. Just trying to tell my parents that yes, fine, he has his disability, but you can actually get the best out of him.
He spent 8 years in Pacheli instead of the normal 6 years.
A year I was on admission for like over 6 months at the hospital then. Then I think the other year I had to learn some other things because they actually taught us, the laundry work aspect and some other things.
Okay, what kind of sickness was that kept you away for 1 year?
I had scabies then, and some other things came up.
He says what he learned in primary school is what is helping him now.
In Pacheli, I taught how to have a laundry works. Not just the theoretical aspect now, the practical aspects. I taught how to have a laundry works, and they actually trained us on how to work effectively. Concerning our mobility, because it's not at every point in time you'll always find someone to hold your hand to work here and there. And one good thing Pacheli actually taught us, which I'm enjoying today, is that Pacheli taught us how to be independent. Just be yourself. Not at every point in time you need to rely on anybody. From primary 4, you'll be taught how to make use of the typewriter, because when you go to the secondary school, the system in which the blind read and write is what we know as Braille. Then the system in which the sighted read and write is called print.
After passing out from Pacheli, he sought for common entrance examination and came out in flying colors.
I finished as the 3rd best in my set then.
Secondary school beckoned. His choices were King's College Lagos and Federal Government College Kano. He settled for the latter even though his parents lived in Ogun State.
I merited the cutoff for King's College, but I believe God knows why I was actually posted to Federal Government College in Kano. I think it's something I enjoyed because I had a change of environment and I was able to learn my lesson, and it also enhanced my level of independence.
There were 6 special students in FGC Kano at that time.
I can remember the very first day I was at the administrative block talking with the principal, and I was introduced to the teacher in charge of special students then Federal Government College, Mr. Madamidola. So Mr. Madamidola had to tell me the likely things to see.
Okay, to expect.
Yeah, to expect in Kano. I don't understand Hausa. I think the only thing I understand in Hausa is Zo, which means come. He told me and said, yeah, it's a different setting we have the houses there. I may be walking on the street and I begin to hear people calling Macau, Macau, Macau. Macau is an Hausa word which means like referring to a blind man, like calling a blind man. That I should not take it as an offense because that is their own life. They don't see it as anything. Okay. That same day, the evening, I was just with a friend, I got into the class, I was introduced into the class. And that same evening, I was just working and began to hear Macau, Macau, and I just laughed.
He describes life in a secondary school boarding house as tough, fun, and rough.
I think the rougher part was actually much. There's one moment I would always remember. I was in SS1, and my hostel happened to be on the second floor. It's a 2-story building, and I was washing and I had to pour the water downstairs from the corridor. Due to the fact that I could not see who was downstairs, mistakenly, I poured the water and it poured on someone. And the next thing I heard was, Kate Boruba, which means like, what was all this mess? Understand? And I was there with a friend who actually is a sighted person. So he saw the guy bending down and just told me, and the guy just walked away. That means my friend just moved to one side. The guy just told me I should move to my right-hand side a bit, which I did. Immediately I moved, I just felt like a breeze, like a wind just blew past my ear. And the next thing I heard was a big stone on the wall. So that means the guy picked up the big stone from the floor, tried to use it on me. But thank God for my friend, which was around me then. His name is Dario. Because I can't imagine if I had not been informed about that. Imagine when the stone hit me and, that's a whole lot of wound on me.
He also tells us about the good times.
I happened to be part of the literary and debating society then. As in SS1, I had a debate that talked about the Nigerian child. Then, and I excelled well. I excelled, and I think that was one part of my fun moment. Then, I'm a music person. There was a program then in school. I had a music presentation, and everybody cheered at me, and I felt appreciated.
After spending 5 years in Kano, he requested for a transfer in order to be closer to his parents.
I got to Ajola Odutola College in Ijebu-Ode, where I was actually close to my parents, and I had to finish my final year.
It was a smooth transition from secondary school to the university. An adventure-loving Francis chose an environment where he had to start making friends all over again.
I've always said if I'll be having my first degree, but I don't wish to have it here in Nigeria. But even if I'll be in Nigeria, no other school than the school which I refer to as the University of First Choice and the nation's pride university, which is the University of Lagos.
He says he can write a book on his 4-year stay in the University of Lagos.
Unilag is a very cheap school. I tell people, but life on Unilag is very expensive because you need to pay for this, pay for food, do that. The first 2 weeks was like, what was all this? I felt isolated. But at a point in time, it dawned on me that in an environment to find yourself, just adapt, carry on with life. So with my course mates then, Kayode, Alabi, who happened to be my class rep, Bankole, Mustafa, and the likes, began moving around together. And a very good friend of mine, Olamide, a female, she was not staying in the hostel. She makes sure she comes as early as possible before 8 o'clock to pick me up in the hostel. I go for my lectures with my midget. I record my lectures. I type if I'm to write any assignment, I type. I have a typewriter, then I type on the typewriter, submit to my lecturers. I write my exams, typing as well. When I'm to write exams, there's always someone around, to dictate the questions to my hearing while I type out my answers. It took time for me to, 2 months, for me to get used to the environment in my hostel. I was staying in Marire Hall then, which is a hostel for the scholars. And that was the hostel the school prepared for students with physical disabilities, I mean for the male, just to make life comfortable for them. You know, I was there. I began to, the first place I knew was my room, from my room to the toilet, which I know not every time I'll always find someone to help me up to ease myself or to have my bath. Then from there, I could just tell my friend, because I like adventure. I like to always know what my environment looks like. I told my friend, let's take a walk to this place. I'm hearing about this place, you know, like the lagoon fronts, the SUB building, you know, different places, the sports center, the amphitheater, the Senate building. So we began to walk here and there, all in the name of, okay, when we get to somewhere, they tell me, yeah, this environment, you have trees painted in these colors, like just wanting me to know what my environment is like.
He studied adult education and had a subsidiary in English. He passed out in 2009 with a second-class lower division. Orientation camp at Okpara, Lagos was where he started his National Youth Service program.
So it's interesting, fun. I think the only thing that would have made it bad for me was the morning when I was charging my phone, and you know, all of a sudden I could not find my phone anymore. The phone was missing. I logged the complaint. The NYC officials took into it, and thanks to my roommates then on camp, thanks to my very special friend Ajayi, we all both graduated from University of Lagos, graduated from mathematics. My roommates contributed the money. They bought my phone. That's why the fact it's an expensive phone, because not just the usual phone. It's an expensive, but they had to contribute thousands of naira to buy the phone, and I installed the software myself.
After 3 weeks in the camp, he was posted to the Nigerian Television Authority, Lagos, for the rest of the program.
Francis is not a first blind person or challenged person that we have had in NTA. I see them, I don't see them as anything short of what I am. So when I saw him, I picked him up to like the way I did with the rest people. And just, what's your name? We posted here. I says it's Francis. And I was happy to receive him. That's it. And I think he's been nice, he's been good.
He has spent 7 months in NTA, and everyone he's come in contact with has good things to say about him.
Very nice person, very nice, outspoken, you know, interact with people, you know, whoever you are, he will interact with you, tell you stories, you know, laugh with you. He's a very nice person.
He also works with us in the library. He does some previews sometimes. He also takes tapes to the control room for transmission. So I would say, for the little time I've known him, he's a very nice person to come across with and also work with.
He seems to be at home amongst his peers.
I've known him from Unilag. We attended the same fellowship back in school, and we're in the same, we're in choir together. He sings very well, by the way.
I sometimes help him out with clearance, something that has to do with writing, and anyway, he's been a wonderful person, because I imagine the way he makes calls, as in with his phone, as in he doesn't even need assistance. My Okunle is so special, because for some other people, since they are visually impaired, they might actually not want to like further their education, you know, really make impacts in life. But above all, he stood to conquer.
In about 5 months, he'll be done with youth service, and he already knows what his next plan is.
So we're putting in for my master's by September immediately. I intend studying communication arts because I have passion for the media.
Unilag?
If I'll be in Nigeria, Unilag. But all things being equal, I'm praying. I believe by God's grace, I mean, God will work out something, a miracle for me to study abroad.
He remembers that going to secondary school and university wasn't so easy financially, but he says he trusts God to see him through again.
Sending a student, I mean, someone, let me not even use the word visually impaired now, not just visually impaired, some ways with a disability.
Okay.
to school, definitely you incur more expenses compared to sending the normal child to school. But my parents, I'll always continue to bless them, and not just my parents, friends. I mean, big uncles, adopted uncles, and not forgetting a God-sent father to me, because he has started to take it up right from when I was in primary 6 up to this present day. That's as a person of Professor Adedeji.
He intends to get married in 3 years' time, and he describes his ideal woman.
To take a very patient woman to date or marry Mayokunle Francis, because I have a lot of female friends who would always want to have themselves around me. To a very patient person, like I've said, someone who has, good character, modesty is one thing I appreciate. Someone who is always contented. The only thing a woman or my wife could always be angry with about me is this. We could be discussing serious issue now, and I just put on the radio or the TV set, and I just hear music that is appealing to my hearing. I could just get distracted by that music and just focus the attention on the music, knowing the fact that yes, I was even discussing something with her. So I'm an understanding person. I'm a very patient person. I find it easy to trust everybody, not until that moment when you betray that trust I have in you. I'm a social person, and I fear God.
Okay, Francis, do you feel bad about your state? Do you feel as if God has been unfair to you?
Well, once in a while, except we don't want to be sincere with ourselves, once in a while, sincerely, at times I just like, why? I wish I'm not having this, I'm not carrying this cross. But I just think about it for like 2-3 minutes. I say, well, it has happened, The next thing is the way forward.
If you weren't visually inclined, what would you have done differently?
I would have done differently. I think the only thing I would have done differently is just that I would have decided to put in for a course like computer science, computer engineering, because I like practicals, I like to explore. That's just it. Okay. But in the sense of that, I'm not missing, because I still make use of the system. I operate on my laptop computer independently, thanks to technology from the Western world. They've been able to put up a software which is called JAWS, JAWS, which means, it's an acronym. It means Job Access with Speech. It's a screen reader, so it reads out everything you have on the screen to your hearing. You don't need any certain person to come around. Okay, I want you to read what's on the screen, because you're taking the person's time, and you taking the person's time is at your own convenience. Remember, you could be inconveniencing the other party. Yeah. So thanks to technology.
Okay, what about your phone?
There's a particular software as well designed for mobile devices, which is called Talks. That's TALKS. I've been able to install the software on my phone. It reads out everything. I'm just able to do everything on my phone, just like you do. Every normal person would do on his or own phone. I check up my battery states, type my messages. You send messages to me, I retrieve them myself. I don't need anybody to tell me to do this or do that. The only thing I tell people is, when you're sending me text messages, don't abbreviate your words. Write them in full, because there's some words you write, my screen reader may not be able to read it out effectively. But when you write them in full, since it's an English word, I can always get to understand them.
You also send text messages?
Yes, I do. I send text messages. I send emails on my laptop. I receive emails. I browse on my phone. Access to Facebook, Twitter, Togo, and lots of other social networking sites and other sites which I need to. I like writing. I'm into writing. I need to know about maybe article writing. Go to different websites. Even check up. I don't buy newspapers. I read news online.
Francis has a disability, no doubt, but he's living life to the fullest.
Do you have hobbies?
Yes, I do.
What are they?
I write. I try to play the piano. I'm good at editing, editing scripts. Another hobby, I sing. I used to be part of the choir back days in the secondary school, even in the university. And what else? I have passion for several things. And I think one of the hobbies, I like traveling, I like adventure.
Really?
Yeah, I like listening to inspirational songs.
He gives a summary of his life this way.
You are the pillar that holds my life, and you are the pillar that holds my life. I sing, Master Jesus, you are the pillar that holds my life. Master Jesus, you are the pillar that holds my life.